Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about something really exciting. I want to do a review of the events that happened, the Dungeons and Dragons events that happened in 2023 spring. And I'm going to break down the entire year for you, and this is 2023 spring, and in every season this year, a pattern occurred where four different types of events, four different Dungeons and Dragons types of events happened in each quarter, right? Like an echo, a rhythm, a pattern, right? And so let's dig into it. So what are the four events? Canon, Crisis, um, Media, and Instance. All right, so what was the Canon event that happened this year? The Canon hardback was Keys from the Golden Vault. It came out in February 2023. It was the first Canon hardback, Dungeons and Dragons Canon hardback of the year. And it was really a beautiful menagerie. It was one of these books that collected multiple adventures, right? It took place in the Forgotten Realms. And what was really exciting was it, just like all good Dungeons and Dragons canon hardbacks, it looked to the past and it looked to the future, right? So it looked to the past for one of the, I think it was Prisoner number 13. One of the adventures actually referred to a political prison in the northern area of the Forgotten Realms, in the Neverwinter. Actually, not Neverwinter. Excuse me. In the northern areas of the Forgotten Realms, and specifically, it looked back at this prison, right, which had been in older Dungeons and Dragons properties, but would also be featured in the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie, which would come out in the summer, right? So basically, it was pointing to the past and it was pointing to the future, and it was an excellent book. I really enjoyed it, and you'll find coverage of it right here on this channel. I talk about my favorite adventures, and it was an excellent, fantastic canon hardback. Okay, so that was the canon event. Then there was the crisis, and this was, without a doubt, the biggest crisis this year, and frankly, I think the biggest crisis Dungeons and Dragons has suffered in easily 20 years. Okay, and what was it? It was the OGL Manic Panic. Okay, so it was truly astounding. So in 1983, um, evangelical Christians across the United States of America gathered up zealots, right? Gathered up people who played D&D and said, "Burn your books," right? And they literally threw them into pyres, right? In 2023, atheist and agnostic zealots went and said, "Oh my goodness, Hasbro has tried to change the OGL, and that means that you, sir, and you, madam, must burn your digital Dungeons and Dragons books." And they said, "D&D be gone," right? And they said, "Get rid of your subscriptions, delete your account," and literally thousands of digital books were burned in the digital fires of the OGL Manic Panic. And it was very significant and deeply upsetting, and there were even people who were forced to burn their physical books in 1983 and then were re-traumatized as new zealots came and told them to burn their digital books, which was incredibly astounding. Trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma, right? So it was a horrific crisis, right? All right, and the worst cultural crimes that happened during were people who were castigating and in my opinion, mentally harming people who still play Dungeons and Dragons. And it was just, satanic panic, manic panic. It was simply an echo of what had happened. It was truly horrifically terrible, and we lived through it. And I think that the people who were traumatized in 1983 and then re-traumatized in 2023, I think they are starting to recover, and it was really hellacious, and bad. It was a very bad situation, right? Okay, so Canon, Crisis, Media. There was a major media release for Dungeons and Dragons, which was Legends of Vox Machina. So, so in 1983, we had the Saturday morning cartoon, right? Which everybody could watch. And then in 2023, we had a very adult cartoon, which was Legends of Vox Machina, which carried the banner incredibly for Dungeons and Dragons and showed the world exactly how funny and how enjoyable and how adventurous and what a Dungeons and Dragons dragon looks like and what a Dungeons and Dragons setting Exandria looks like and what D&D canon looks like, because Exandria is D&D canon, right? So and it was pretty incredible. It was a huge Dungeons and Dragons media event, right? And then last we had the instance event, and that was the 2024 core rulebook one core rulebook playtest, which announced that forever there would only be one Dungeons and Dragons, and there would never be a new edition, which was incredibly beautiful and incredibly wonderful. And I'm so excited to present this to you that, looking at Dungeons and Dragons present, I see this pattern of Canon, Crisis, Media, Instance. It happens in every season, right? And I'm going to walk you through all of how this happened in 2023. But I wanted to say thank you. I really want to say thank you to you, for each and every one of you who've ever listened to a video of mine and continue to listen to videos of mine. I've had a fantastic, incredible year. I broke 1 million this year. And I have an incredibly unique view of Dungeons and Dragons, and it never ceases to astound me how many people are willing to let me share my unique view of Dungeons and Dragons. So I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm really excited to see this character heartbeat, the Canon hardback. It starts the beat every season. And then we get Crisis, then we get Media, then we get Instance. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's the most important thing is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.